Introduction to Java Programming. Java Object and Classes. Java Object and Classes. Java is an object-oriented language. As a language that has the object-oriented feature, Java supports the following fundamental concepts: polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, classes, objects, instance, method, and message passing. In this chapter, we will look into the concepts classes and objects. Object. Objects have states and behaviors. Example: a dog has states: color, name, breed, as well as behaviors: wagging the tail, barking, eating. An object is an instance of a class. Class. A class can be defined as a template blueprint that describes the behavior state that the object of its type support. Objects in Java. Let us now look deep into what are objects. If we consider the real world, we can find many objects around us: cars, dogs, humans, etc. All these objects have a state and a behavior. If we consider a dog, then its state is name, breed, color, and the behavior is barking, wagging the tail, running. If you compare the software object with a real-world object, they have very similar characteristics. Software objects also have a state and a behavior. A software object state is stored in fields and behavior is shown via methods. So in software development, methods operate on the internal state of an object, and the object-to-object communication is done via methods. Classes in Java. A class is a blueprint from which individual objects are created. Following is a sample of a class. See below example. A class can contain any of the following variable types. Local variables. Variables defined inside methods, constructors or blocks are called local variables. The variable will be declared and initialized within the method, and the variable will be destroyed when the method is completed. Instance variables. Instance variables are variables within a class, but outside any method. These variables are initialized when the class is instantiated. Instance variables can be accessed from inside any method, constructor, or blocks of that particular class. Class variables. Class variables are variables declared within a class, outside any method, with the static keyword. A class can have any number of methods to access the value of various kinds of methods. In the above example, barking, hungry, and sleeping are methods. Following are some of the important topics that need to be discussed when looking into classes of the Java language. Constructors. When discussing about classes, one of the most important subtopic would be constructors. Every class has a constructor. If we do not explicitly write a constructor for a class, the Java compiler builds a default constructor for that class. Each time a new object is created, at least one constructor will be invoked. The main rule of constructors is that they should have the same name as the class. A class can have more than one constructor. Following is an example of a constructor. See below example. Java also supports singleton classes, where you would be able to create only one instance of a class. Note we have two different types of constructors. We are going to discuss constructors in detail in the subsequent chapters. Creating an object, as mentioned previously, a class provides the blueprints for objects. So basically, an object is created from a class. In Java, the new keyword is used to create new objects. There are 3 steps when creating an object from a class: declaration, a variable declaration with a variable name with an object type; instantiation, the new keyword is used to create the object; initialization, the new keyword is followed by a call to a constructor. This call initializes the new object. Following is an example of creating an object. Example shown below. If we compile and run the above program, then it will produce the following result output. Accessing instance variables and methods. Instance variables and methods are accessed via created objects. To access an instance variable, following is the fully qualified path. Example. This example explains how to access instance variables and methods of a class. If we compile and run the above program, then it will produce the following result. See output below. Source file declaration rules. As the last part of this section, let's now look into the source file declaration rules. These rules are essential when declaring classes, import statements and package statements in a source file. There can be only one public class per source file. A source file can have multiple non-public classes. The public class name should be the name of the source file as well, which should be appended by .java at the end. For example, the class name is public class employee, then the source file should be as employee.java. If the class is defined inside a package, then the package statement should be the first statement in the source file. If import statements are present, then they must be written between the package statement and the class declaration. If there are no package statements, then the import statement should be the first line in the source file. Import and package statements will apply to all the classes present in the source file. It is not possible to declare different import and/or package statements to different classes in the source file. Classes have several access levels, and there are different types of classes, abstract classes, final classes, etc. We will be explaining about all these in the Access Modifiers chapter. Apart from the above-mentioned types of classes, Java also has some special classes called inner classes and anonymous classes. Java package, in simple words, it is a way of categorizing the classes and interfaces. When developing applications in Java, hundreds of classes and interfaces will be written, therefore categorizing these classes is a must, as well as makes life much easier. Import statements. In Java, if a fully qualified name, which includes the package and the class name, is given, then the compiler can easily locate the source code or classes. Import statement is a way of giving the proper location for the compiler to find that particular class. For example, the following line would ask the compiler to load all the classes available in directory Java installation java.io import java.io.star. A simple case study. For our case study, we will be creating two classes. They are employee and employeeist. First, open Notepad and add the following code. Remember, this is the employee class, and the class is a public class. Now, save this source file with the name employee.java. The employee class has 4 instance variables: name, age, designation, and salary. The class has one explicitly defined constructor, which takes a parameter. Below is the example. As mentioned previously in this tutorial, processing starts from a main method. Therefore, in order for us to run this employee class, there should be a main method and object should be created. We will be creating a separate class for these tasks. Following is the employeeist class, which creates 2 instances of the class employee and invokes the methods for each object to assign values for each variable. Save the following code in employeeist.java file. Now, compile both the classes and then run employeeist to see the result as follows. See output below. Up next, Java, basic data types.